today's session, right? So yesterday, I think in the previous session, right, we had talked about, scanner, taking input from user, data types, what are the different data types that are existing, what is declaration, initialization, assignment, what are mathematical operators, what is precedence, what is associativity, what is implicit typecasting, right? All of these topics we have covered in the previous class, right? Okay. Okay, guys. So what is the basic idea of today's session, right? So welcome everyone. And in this class, we are going to study about conditionals, right? So first of all, let's try to understand today's agenda, that what we are going to do in today's agenda, and then we will get started with today's class. Okay. So the agenda for today's lecture is something like this. 1 second. So first of all, guys, we will start with operators, right? So I have already talked of mathematical operators like plus, minus, into, divide, modulo, right? All these operators I have already talked about. So first of all, today we will start by speaking of relational operators. So we will talk about relational operators. What are relational operators? What are the relational operators in Java? How do you use them and all these things, right? Once we are clear with relational operators, then we will go and talk about logical operators, okay? Then once we understand what logical operators are, then we will come to the first important concept of programming. We will discuss the first control flow block today, that is conditionals. So the main theme of today's session is conditionals. So first of all, we will understand what are conditionals. Then we will understand why do we need conditionals, right? And then we will try to study about the if block. Then we will study if else. Then we will study if else ladder. Okay, if else ladder. So these structures we will study, okay? Then we will solve some problems on conditionals to get your understanding even better. And then we will talk of nesting of conditionals, okay? So this is the idea behind today's class or for today's class, right? So the end goal at the end of today's class is that you should be able to get a very clear picture of what conditionals are and how do you exactly use conditionals in programming. That is pretty much the agenda if I want to summarize it, right? And after we are done with today's content, I think a small topic was left from the last day, which was explicit typecasting. So we will also talk about that, okay? And we also have to discuss the homework questions as well as some questions for today's class, okay? So once the picture for today's class is clear, let's get started without any further delays, okay? So let's start, guys, let's start. So first of all, guys, we will start today's session by talking of relational operators. So first of all, I ask you, hey, what are relational operators? What are relational operators? So relational operators basically are operators that help you to establish a relationship between two elements, okay? So relational operators tell you a relationship between two elements, okay? These help you to establish some kind of a relationship between two elements, right? So using relational operators, you are able to compare. Using relational operators, you can compare two elements and establish a relationship between the two elements, okay? So guys, in mathematics, when we were in school and we were studying about mathematics, right, we have seen certain relational operators in maths also, right? What are these relational operators? Less than. Now see guys, why is less than a relational operator? Because if I say 8 is less than 9, okay, then see guys, using this operator, I am comparing the elements 8 and 9. And what I'm telling 8 is less than 9. Is this correct or not? Yes. The expression that I am telling you 8 is less than 9, that is true. Okay, so this relational operator helps me to compare two different elements and helps me to establish or know a relationship between the two elements. Okay, so guys, I will tell you 8 is less than 9 now. This is 2. This entire thing that I have written here now, 8 is less than 9. This is true. So I am now able to establish the relation that yes, boss, the element 8 is lesser than the element 9. So what are relational operators? Relational operators help you to compare two elements, right? They actually compare two elements and help you to establish a relationship between the two elements, okay? So what are relational operators? In maths, we have seen certain relational operators. What are they? Less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, okay? Equal to, that is checking for equality, checking for not equality. All these are relational operators, right? So whenever I say, if I say 10 is greater than equal to 20, if I say something like this, boss, is this expression correct or wrong? 10 is greater than equal to 20. I am claiming to you guys that 10 is greater than equal to 20. All of you will tell me, come and tell me, hey Adarsh, whatever you are claiming is wrong. So I will tell you that this expression that I have written, 10 greater than equal to 20, this expression is false. So guys, this relational operator helps me to compare these two elements and helps me to establish a relationship. That boss 10 is not greater than or equal to 20. So greater than equal to operator is a relational operator. Why? Because relational operators help you to compare two elements. See, when you look at the output of this expression now, 10 greater than equal to 20, this is false, right? So now you can tell that, hey, using this greater than equal to operator, I was able to compare these two elements, okay? And I got the answer as false. That means 10 is not greater than equal to 20. So I compared these two elements and I was able to establish a relationship that yes, boss, 10 is not greater than or equal to 20, okay? So these are all relational operators, okay? So similar to relational, think of relational operators simply like they will be used to compare two elements. You can use them to compare two elements and establish a relationship between the two elements, okay? Now you will tell me, okay, Adarsh, we understand what are relational operators in programming, right? What are relational operators in mathematics? But we are not studying, maths here. We have already studied maths in class 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You are here to teach us programming. So, okay, guys, let me tell you what are some of the relational operators that we are going to study in Java. Okay. So very similar to mathematics, you have less than, okay, you have greater than, then we have less than equal to like this. Okay, in maths, you had less than equal to like this. But in programming, we have lesser than equal to like this. Okay, then you have greater than equal to next. You also have an operator to check for exact equality, right? So when we use double equal to, this checks for exact equality. Double equal to is checking for exact equality. And if I want to check for not equal to, then exclamation mark followed by equal to. This is not equal to, right? So this is less than, strictly greater, less than equal to, greater than equal to. This double equal to checks for exact equality. And this is not equals, okay? So guys, how do we use them? Let's say I ask you, 7 equal to 9. I have given you an expression to evaluate it. Guys, I tell you one thing, that whenever you use a relational operator in programming, the output is always a Boolean. Okay, so the output of a relational operator is always a Boolean. Either it will be true or it will be false. Okay, and you can verify this yourself. When I write an expression 7 equal to 9, I am checking is 7 equal to 9. I have written this statement 7 equal to 9. What will be the output of this expression? Guys, is 7 and 9 the same? No, 7 and 9 are not equal, right? So the output of this expression that I have written is false. 7 equal to 9, this expression is false. But if I say 7 not equal to 9, right, then the output of this expression will be true. Because indeed, guys, 7 is not equal to 9. So all these are relational operators because they help you to compare two elements and establish a relationship, whether the two elements are same or not, whether they are not equal, whether one is greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, or whatever, right? So relational operators, the output of relational operator is always a Boolean, either a true or a false, right? And whenever you are using relational operators, you are comparing two elements and you are establishing a relationship between the two elements. Okay. So let's try to use these relational operators in action once in programming so that we are actually clear and you get convinced that yes, when you use relational operators, the output is a Boolean. So what can I do, guys? System.out.println, let's say I ask you 8 greater than equal to 10. I write this expression, right? 8 greater than equal to 10. So what will this expression evaluate to? Is 8 greater than equal to 10? No. So this expression will evaluate to a false. So you will see that this line number 12, when it runs false, will be printed on the screen. Let us try to understand. Let's try to run and confirm our analysis, right? 8 greater than equal to 10, right? See, this will evaluate to false because 8 is not greater than equal to 10. But if you would have used this 8 is lesser than 10 or 8 is less than equal to 10, then you will see that the output is a 2 because indeed, guys, 8 is less than equal to 10. Okay. Similarly, you can also do something like this. Let's say Boolean. You can have a Boolean variable. Boolean answer is equal to, and you can write an expression, whatever you want, right? Let's say I give you 8 equal to 8. Guys, can anybody tell me what will be the answer of this expression that I have written? What will this expression evaluate to? 8 equal to 8. What does this expression evaluate to? It evaluates to 2, right? Because 8 is indeed equal to 8. So this right-hand side evaluates to be 2, and then this 2 will be assigned to the Boolean variable answer. So if I print answer, if you print answer, you will see that 2 is getting printed on the screen. So first false is, this is also true, right? 8 less than equal to 10, this is also true. And this is answer is also true. So true will be printed 2 times on the screen. Let's see. I think 2 is printed 2 times, right? So this makes sense, right? This makes sense. Keep your video on, sure, if you want. I can, 1 second. Actually, some people in module 1 and module 2 were telling that, with video, you don't actually see that thing. Some portion of the recording was getting cut. So that's why I also decided to keep it off. But yeah, if you guys are getting everything fine, I don't have a problem. Okay. So yeah, guys, so that was about Yeah, actually, there was a discussion going on in module 1, module 2 Discord channels that, while watching the recording, some part was getting cut. So that is why I think everybody is keeping their videos off. So that's why I offed it. Okay, cool. So we are done till here, right? And so now we understand what are relational operators, and the output of relational operators is always a Boolean. Either it is a true or it is a false, right? So now once we are clear with relational operators, let's go to the second part of our discussion, right? So you will ask me, hey, Adarsh, why have we studied relational operators now, right? What is the use? We will talk about the use a little bit later. But just understand that there are some relational operators in programming which help you to compare two elements and establish a relationship. And the output of all relational operators will be a Boolean. Okay. Now, once we are clear with relational operators, right, let's talk about logical operators, right? So guys, in relational operators, right, whenever we were using relational operators, we were writing conditions, we were writing certain expressions, right? And those expressions either evaluated to a true or they evaluated to false, right? So let's say I say 8 equal to 9. This is the expression that I have given you, right? So the output of this expression will be false because 8 is not equal to 9, right? So using relational operators, you are writing expressions which evaluated to a true or a false, right? Now I am telling you what are logical operators. Now let's come to logical operators, okay? Now, guys, I am pretty sure everybody or almost many of you who have studied mathematics in 8, 9, 10 or 11, right? You have studied some of the logical operators, right? You have studied logical and, logical or, logical not. You have studied truth table in classes 11 and 12, right? But let me again help you with what you must have done in classes 11 and 12, or maybe in class 8, 9 and 10. Or even if you have not done now, I will tell you from scratch. So no need to worry. Now, let's say, guys, you have two expressions A and B, okay? You have two expressions A and B, okay? First of all, I am giving you a truth table. I am giving you a truth table for logical and, okay? What is logical and, guys? Try to understand. I am telling you, boss, you have two expressions A and B, okay? A is one expression and B is another expression. And then I ask you, what is the output for A and B? So let me tell you something like this, right? So let's say if I give you a statement, if I give you a statement, Earth is round, okay? First statement is Earth is round, okay? And the second statement is sun rises in the east, right? So this is statement A, this is statement B. Guys, both of the statements are true, right? Earth is round, that's correct. And sun rises from the east or in the east. This statement is also correct, right? So individually, both the statements evaluate to true, right? Earth is round, this statement is also true. And sun rises in the east, this statement is also true. Now, if I ask you guys, what is this statement? I write a statement like this. Earth is round and sun rises in the east. Is this entire statement true or not? See, condition A is also true. This is also true. So is A and B true? Earth is round and sun rises in the east. I am asking you for both these conditions. Is this sentence true or false? I am claiming two things in this sentence, right? Earth is round and sun rises in the east. Okay. So I will tell you, because both of these statements are true now, the entire sentence, Earth is round and sun rises in the east, this entire statement is also true. So if A and B are true, A and B will also be true, right? This is the truth table for logical and. But guys, now try to think. If one statement is false now, then A and B will become false, right? Let's say I tell you something like this. Earth is flat, okay? So this statement is false and sun rises in the east, this is true. So now if I ask you, hey, can you tell me what is the truthfulness of this statement? I'm telling you, can you comment whether this statement is correct or not? Earth is flat and sun rises in east. Somebody is telling you these 2 points, right? Hey, Adarsh, Earth is flat and sun rises in the east. I am telling you this statement. So you will very promptly tell me now that, hey, Adarsh, whatever you are telling is wrong. Because Earth is not flat, this part is wrong. So whatever entire statement you told me, that is wrong, right? So what I want you to understand is, in the truth table for AND, if one of the conditions evaluate, if one of the expression evaluates to be false, right, then the entire logical AND will be false. So see guys, even if one of the statement is false, then the logical AND will become false, right? Both the statements are false, logical AND will also be false, right? So think of it like this. I am claiming 5 equal to 5. This is one thing that I am saying. And 8 equal to 9. This is the entire expression that I have given you. Guys, this first part is true, but the second part is false. So guys, one part is true and the other part is false, right? And they are grouped by logical AND. So guys, a logical AND will only give you true output if all the parts are evaluating to be true. Even if one of the expressions evaluate to be false, the logical AND output will become false. Okay. So what is the truth table for logical AND? Let's say you have A and B are two expressions, and here is your logical AND output. So if both the expressions evaluate to be true, then only your logical AND will be true. Even if one of the expressions, right, evaluate to be false, then the logical and will become false. Okay, so even if one of the expression evaluates to be false, the logical and becomes false. Okay, so this is the truth table for logical and. Guys, do you understand this part, what I'm trying to say? Yes, making sense? Okay, cool. So this is logical and, right? So similar to logical and, we also learned certain other concepts in school, right? Which was a logical or. Let's try to talk of the logical or operator, right? Now, what does it do? What does it do? Guys, let's say you have two expressions A and B, and I want to get the output for logical or. Logical or क्या बोलता है? Even if one of the statements evaluate to be true, now the logical or will be true. If both the statements evaluate to be false, then the logical or will be false. That means even if one of the statements is true, the logical or will remain true. Okay. Even if one of the statements is true, the logical or will be true. But if both the statements evaluate to be false, or both the expressions evaluate to be false, then the logical or will become false. Okay. Okay. So logical or evaluates to false only if both the statements or all the component statements are false. Even if one of them is true, then the logical or output will be true. So think of it now. तुम ऐसा कुछ claim कर रहे हो. Earth is flat, or sun rises from east. Okay, so this entire thing will be true, right? Because I am claiming this or this. Even if one of the part that I am claiming is true, the entire expression evaluates to true. So this is logical or. If both the statements evaluate to false, then only the output that you get is false. Otherwise, at least one statement should be true and the logical or output will be true. Okay. And again, the third part that you had was a logical not. Logical not, right? And what did logical not do? It was just like inverting. Okay. So let's say you had an expression A. Okay. So if A evaluates to true, okay, not of A will become false. If A was false, not of A will become true. Just think that you are inverting your, inverting the expression's value. So your logical not is like a not gate. Okay, I don't know how many of you have done electronics here, but yes. So if your expression is true, then the output will be false. If the input is false, then the output will be true. It's just like changing the, inverting the sign, right? If the expression evaluates to be true, not of true will be false and not of false will be true. Okay. So not is just like an inverter. So these are the three basic logical operators that we have learned in mathematics, right? So similar to maths, you also have logical operators in programming. And what are the logical operators? The same logical operators. Logical and, logical or, logical not, right? So how do you write them? So guys, logical and has this symbol. This is the symbol for logical and. Okay. This is the symbol for logical and in programming. That is in Java specifically, right? These two pipes, where you will see these two pipes, see guys, on top of enter, you will see a symbol, pipe, right? So that pipe, 2 times you put that pipe, this is the operator for logical or. This is logical or. Okay. And how is not written? Just put an exclamation mark. This is logical not. Okay. This is your logical not. So guys, what can you do? Using these logical operators now, I can combine multiple expressions together, right? Now, if I ask you something like this, hey, 8 equal to 8 and 7 equal to 7 and let's say, 5 equal to 4. Okay. So using logical operators, you can combine multiple conditions together, right? You can combine multiple conditions together. Can anybody tell me the final output of this entire complex expression that I have written? Can anybody help me with the entire output of this? False, right? What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? Even if one of the components of a logical and is false, the entire expression will be false. Okay. So see guys, 8 equal to 8, this is true, and this is false. So what are you evaluating? You are basically evaluating true and false. Okay. So true and 2 will be 2. Okay. And then you are evaluating true and false. So true and false will become false. Okay. So the final output of this expression will be a false. Logical not fits for sure. Please repeat once again. See guys, what I am telling you is a logical operators, right? Be it logical and, logical or not, right? So logical and logical or, they are used to combine multiple expressions together. Okay. If somebody asks you, 8 is greater than equal to 10 or 10 is greater than equal to 8. Okay. This is one complex expression that I am giving you. And I ask you, what is the final output of this expression, right? So see guys, this is one expression, 8 greater than equal to 10. This evaluates to false, right? And the second expression is 10 greater than equal to 8. This evaluates to be 2. And these two expressions are grouped by a logical or. So logical or क्या बोलता है? अगर एक भी true हो गया ना, तो final output होगा true. So logical or tells you that even if one of the expressions evaluate to be true, the final expression's output will be true. Okay. So what am I saying guys? False or true, right? False or true, the final output will be true. So this entire expression that we have written, this evaluates to be true at the end. Okay. So logical or क्या बोलता है? if all the expressions evaluate to be false now, then only the final output will be false. Even if one of the expression evaluates to be true, then the output will be true only in case of a logical OR. But what is logical AND saying? Logical AND is saying all the conditions should evaluate to be true. If all the expressions are true, then logical AND output will be true. Even if one of the expression evaluates to be false, the output of logical AND will become false. So let's take an example. 8 equal to 8 and let's say 7 equal to 10. You see, there are two expressions. This evaluates to be a true, this evaluates to be a false. So basically I am doing true and false. True and false evaluates to be false only. Because kya bolta hai logical AND? All the expressions should be true in order for the output to be true. Even if one of the expression evaluates to be false, the logical AND output will be false. So the output of this entire expression is false. Okay. And for people who are asking logical NOT, how do you use a logical NOT? Let's say I give you something like this, 8 equal to 8, and then I write a NOT, right? So guys, what is the output of this entire expression? See, 8 equal to 8, this is true, right? This expression evaluates to be true. And then you have a NOT operator. So NOT of 2 will become false. So the final output of this entire expression is false. Okay. Similarly, if you're doing something like this, NOT of 7 equal to 10. So this will evaluate to be true. How? 7 equal to 10 is false and NOT of false will become true. So a NOT operator just reverses the condition, right? If an expression evaluates to be true, NOT of true will become a false. Okay. And if an expression evaluates to be false, NOT of false will become a true. So these are the logical operators. Okay. Now, guys, one very interesting thing that I want you guys to understand about logical operators is, see, let's say I tell you something like this, 7 equal to 5 and okay, and I tell you something is here, right? Let's say 7 equal to 7. Okay. Now, what I am telling you guys, try to very, very closely understand. If the first condition of a logical AND evaluates to be false, मैं बोलता हूँ, this first expression has evaluated to be false. Okay. So if the first expression is evaluated to be false, do you even need to go and check the second expression? Tell me one thing, guys. False के साथ, whether this is true or false, the output will be false only. Do you all agree? If the first expression is evaluated to be false, no matter what is the second expression, the output will be false only. So guys, the compiler is, some code is hidden by video, so please off your video. Okay guys, I knew that this will be coming in. I don't have a problem. So I think I'll keep video off only because code gets hidden off. So let's not comment. Okay. So guys, what I am making you understand and what I am trying to make you understand is, if the first expression evaluates to be a false now, then you don't even need to evaluate the second expression. If whether the second expression is true or false, the final output will be false only in case of a logical AND. Because logical AND क्या बोलता है? Even if one of the expressions evaluate to be false, the final output will be false only. So what do I see? The first expression is evaluated to be a false. So I don't even need to evaluate the second expression. And I can simply tell you that the expression, the whole output will be false. So guys, our compiler is also very intelligent, right? So क्या होता है? When we are using logical AND, okay, and the first expression evaluates to be false, the compiler will not evaluate the second expression because the compiler knows now, boss, you are using a logical AND and the first expression is evaluated to be false. So why do I need to waste my time to evaluate the second expression? मेरे को पता ही है ना कि boss, the first expression is false. That means the entire expression will evaluate to false only. So guys, the compiler skips checking this second expression, and this is known as short circuiting. This is known as short circuiting. Compiler ने short circuit कर दिया. It made my work easy. It adopted a shortcut. कि boss, the first expression is evaluated to be a false, and you have a logical AND. So I already know that if one of the expressions is evaluated to be false and you have a logical AND, the entire expression will evaluate to be a false. Okay. So the compiler skips checking the second expression and gives you the output as false. So this is known as short circuiting. This is the concept of short circuiting. Similarly, guys, can you guess in case of logical OR, when will a short circuit happen? Can anybody help me? I will come back to your questions also. Can somebody help me? Can somebody help me? Yes, if I'll tell you, okay? See, in case of logical OR, if you see that the first expression is evaluated to be a true, अगर पहला expression true आ गया, then do you need to check the second expression? The answer is no. Because true or anything will be true itself. Look at the truth table, guys. You will understand better. True or false also evaluates to be a true. Okay. And if you have a true or true, it also evaluates to be a true. So if one of the expressions has evaluated to be a true now, irrespective of whether the second expression is true or false, the final output will be true only. Because what does logical OR say? If at least one of the expression evaluates to be a true, the entire expression's output will be true only. If all the expressions are false, then only the logical or output will be false. So compiler क्या देखेगा? If the compiler sees that the first expression evaluates to be a true and you have a logical or, then compiler क्या बोलेगा? Hey boss, I don't even need to check the second expression because true or anything will be true only. So it will tell you, yes boss, the final output is true. So this is also an example of short circuiting. Okay. So guys, in case of logical or, if the first expression evaluates to be a true, the compiler will not check the second expression and will give you the final output as true. This is one example of short circuiting. And another example is in case of logical and, if your first condition evaluates to be false, then irrespective of whether the second expression is true or false, the final output will be false only. देखो ना guys, if your first expression is false, okay, then if your second expression is true, then also the output will be false. And if your second expression is false, then also the output will be false only. So the compiler is intelligent enough. Boss, if the first expression evaluates to be a false, it will not even check the second expression. It will do a short circuiting. This phenomena is known as short circuiting, where the compiler skips the checking of certain expressions. Okay. Now let me get to the questions in the chat. Not of 7 equal to 5. Okay. Not of 7 equal to 5 and 7 equal to 7. Okay. So is this true or is this false? Right. So let us try to see. Guys, what is 7 equal to 5? 7 equal to 5 is false, right? And not of false will be true. Okay. So this first part is true. And what is this? 7 equal to 7 is also true. So true and true will be true. Okay. But any kind of doubts that you are getting, right? For people who are getting doubts, what should be this now? Your answer should be available in a compiler, right? So let us try to use the logical operators in a compiler and try to understand our, verify our assumptions and claims, whatever we have seen so far. So let's take Mohan's expression only, right? Let's take. So let's write it. Okay. So I know that, see guys, whenever you are using logical operators, relational operators, the output will be a Boolean only. Okay. So let me evaluate this expression and store it in an answer. Boolean answer is equal to not of 7 equal to 5. Okay. And 7 equal to 7. So this is the expression that, Mohan wants us to evaluate, right? This entire expression. So let us try to understand what is the output. We can just print an answer and know what is the expression's output. So see guys, look here, 7 equal to 7 will be true. So the second part is true, right? What is the first part? 7 equal to 5 will be false, right? And not of false will be true. So this entire thing has evaluated to be true. So true and true will be true. Okay. So if I print the answer, let's see the output should be true. Let's check. Yes, it's true, right? Okay. And see guys, there will be some precedence and associativity in this case also, right? Because first of all, this logical not will have more preference than a logical and. Are you getting it? I understand why this question might have come, right? But logical not pehle perform hota hai, then a logical and. Okay. You can Google precedence up, and when you look at the precedence of different operators, you can see, right? But if you want to be 100%, confirm, put more brackets, right? First of all, I'll get the answer to this entire thing. Then we will do a logical and with this entire thing, right? But even if you don't give a brackets, this will evaluate to true only. Okay. Now let's see another thing, right? So let's say Boolean, or let's directly do it. 8 equal to 8 or 10 less than equal to 8. So guys, the first expression is true and the second expression is false, right? So what will happen in this case? A short circuiting will happen because the first expression evaluates to a true and you have a logical or. So the output we are expecting to be true only. Let's see. That's true. Okay. But if you just modify the condition here, put an and, then what will happen, guys? See, this is true and this is false, right? So true and false will be false. So the output you will see as false. Okay. Let's see false. Okay. So if I was using an or here, then the output was true, right? And if I want to use a not operator, then what will happen? Now see guys, I have put brackets and then I'm putting not here. So first of all, this entire bracket expression will get evaluated and then the final thing will be, inverted. So what is 8 equal to 8 is true? True or anything will be true, right? So this bracket, this entire expression evaluates to be true. And then you have a not operator sitting outside. So not of true will become false. Okay. So this time I expect that a false will be printed here. Let's see. See guys, false. Okay. So is everyone clear with these logical operators, namely logical and logical or logical not? Yeah, you can use and or in the same statement, right? Nobody is stopping you from using and or not. All operators you can use in a single statement as well. That is not a problem. It depends on you how much complex you want to make your conditions to be, right? So Ashutosh has given us a question. 8 equal to 8 and 2 equal to 2 or 5 equal to 5. Okay. So guys, let's try to, first of all, do it here. Okay. let's take answer 2, second variable. And what is this? 8 equal to 8. Okay. And 2 equal to 2, or 5 equal to 5. Okay. So guys, this is the thing that we are, evaluating. So what will I do, guys? Whenever you want to look at this, now first of all, open precedence table, right? Precedence of operators in, okay. So now, guys, once we are clear with all of these things, right? Now it's a good time to start with conditionals. Okay. Now today is a very good time that we should get started with conditionals, because we are aware of all the fundamental things that are required to understand conditionals. Okay. So let's start with conditionals. What are conditionals and why do we even need conditionals in the first place? Okay. So guys, in our first lecture, when we were talking for the first time, right? So I had told you that, programs always have a sequential flow of execution. Okay. Whatever code you write that has a sequential flow of execution. First line number 1 gets executed, then line number 2, then line number 3, then line number 4, then line number 5, and so on. Right. And I also told you that there is something known as a control flow block. If you want to control the flow of execution of your program, you have something known as a control flow blocks. And using control flow blocks, you can control the flow of execution of your programs. Okay. So guys, what is these control flow programs? There are 2 control flow blocks that we are going to learn about. One is conditionals and the other is loops. Okay. So what are conditionals, guys? Conditionals are a control flow block that will help you to control the flow of execution of a program. Okay. I don't always want a plain simple sequential flow of execution, right? I might want line number 1, line number 2, skip line number 3, go to line number 4, right? I might want to have sequential execution like this also, right? So conditionals are helping us to create a control over the flow of execution of the program. Okay. Now, why are conditionals even important in programming, right? Let's go to our real life example. Guys, in real life, human beings face different situations, different scenarios, right? And depending on conditions, depending on what condition you are in, you will respond differently. Let's say tomorrow's weather forecast is that, hey, the chances of rain are greater than 90%, right? So what you will do? You will first of all look at the weather condition. Okay, first of all, you will evaluate the weather condition. And you see that, hey, the weather condition predicts that the chances of rain are greater than 90%. If the chances of rain is greater than 90%, okay, you might want to take an umbrella out with you. If the chances of rain is less than 90%, you might not want to carry an umbrella. So depending on a particular condition, you are responding differently in real life. If the chances of rain are greater than equal to 90%, you want to take an umbrella with you for protection. But if the chances of rain is less than 90%, you will be macho man and you will go out without an umbrella, right? So you are responding differently depending on what condition is present there, right? Similarly, guys, think of it like you are going to shopping. Okay, you are going to shopping and you want to buy clothes for yourself, right? And your mother tells you one thing, right? She tells you that, hey, Adarsh, you know what? You go to the market, no problem. Go to the supermarket. Let's forget about clothes, right? Let's say you are buying grocery or something like that, right? Any item you're purchasing, whatever you want. So you are given the instruction that, hey, if there is a sale going on of 20% or more, then you can purchase 10 clothes. Okay. If there is a sale, 1 second. Okay, we exhausted the slides. 1 second, guys. Let's just make some good amount of slides so that we don't have to come back again. Okay. Yes, guys. So, you are given a task of buying clothes for yourself, right? And your mother tells you, hey, Adarsh, if there is a sale of 50% going on, right, then you should buy 10 clothes for yourself. You can buy 10 clothes. Boss, saste mein mil raha hai, kaun nahi kharidega, right? If there is a sale of 25%, let's say, if there is 25% sale, then she tells you only buy 5 clothes. Okay. And if there is no sale, if all the items are fresh, right, then just buy what you need at this instance, that is maybe 2 pieces of clothes, right? So guys, what are you doing? Depending on different conditions, you will be responding differently. So when you go to the supermarket, you will look at the discount that is being given. You will look at the sale percentage, or you will look at what is the discount that is being given at the store. You will evaluate the discount condition. Okay. And depending on different situations, if the discount is greater than equal to 50%, you will respond differently and buy 10 clothes. If the discount is, less than 50, but greater than equal to 25, then you will buy maybe 5 clothes. And if there is no discount, then you will only buy 2 clothes. So depending on certain conditions, you are responding differently. So, okay, in real life, we get a lot of different conditions. And depending on what condition we find ourselves in, we respond in a different fashion, right? So, if in real life, you are given this flexibility, or you have this flexibility to respond differently in different scenarios, then you want the same flexibility to be with programs as well. And that is why we have the concept of conditionals in programs. Okay. So what are conditionals in programming? So think of it like, what you can do is you will evaluate a particular condition. Okay. You evaluate a particular condition. And if the condition evaluates to be true, you might want to, do something. You might want to go via a different route. And if the condition evaluates to be false, you might go via a different route. So conditionals give you this flexibility in programming. Boss, evaluate a particular condition, and depending on whether the condition is true or false, okay, you can respond differently. Okay. So what are some important conditionals that we need to understand? Let's get started with the theory part of conditional. So the first thing that we need to understand is the if block. If block, right? This is the first conditional that we are going to talk about. So what is the syntax of using the if? Pretty simple, right? So you write if, and then within parentheses, you will write a condition. And guys, listen to me very carefully. Whatever condition you write now, that should evaluate to be a Boolean. That should either evaluate to be a true or it should evaluate to be a false. So whatever condition that you write, that should always evaluate to be a Boolean. And guys, this is why I taught you the relational and logical operators. So in the conditions that we write now, we generally use relational operators, logical operators, because we know that their output will be a Boolean. So how does the if block work? If, then within parentheses, I write a condition. Okay. And then we open curly braces, and this is my if block. So how does the code run, guys? If the condition evaluates to be true, think of it like this condition is your security guard. Okay. He is guarding your society. Okay. If the condition evaluates to be true, then you will enter inside the if block and execute the lines of code written here. Okay. If the condition is false, then you won't be entering inside the if block. Okay. So if I want you guys to understand this via a flow chart, okay, think of it like you are writing some lines of code. I am calling it A. Okay. These are some lines of code, and then you have written a statement like if within parentheses you write a condition, right? So first of all, the lines of code, okay, that are before this if will get executed, right? Whatever lines you have, they will get executed. Then I come to this if statement, and this condition will be evaluated. Guys, try to understand this flowchart, right? I evaluate this particular condition. If the condition evaluates to be false, then we will not enter inside the if block. Let me say that B is inside the if block, right? B is the region inside the if block, and C is the region outside this if block, right? So guys, if the condition evaluates to be a false, then you will not enter inside the if block. You will not enter here. You will simply execute whatever code is outside the if block. You will not enter inside the if block, right? So you will simply run the lines of code which are in C. Okay. So boss, if you execute these lines of code A, whatever lines are above, then you evaluate the condition. If the condition is false, I simply come after the if block and execute the lines of code which are after the if block. But if the condition evaluates to be true, okay, you evaluate the condition and this evaluates to be true. So if the condition evaluates to be true, you will enter inside the if block, and first of all, you will execute whatever statements are there inside the if block. You execute all the statements, and then you will come outside the if block and execute the lines which are after the if block. So first B is executed, then C will get executed. Okay, so this is the basic flow chart of a if block. Okay, so if the condition evaluates to be true, you will enter, execute all these lines, and then you will come out and execute these lines. If the condition evaluates to be false, you will not enter inside the if block. Okay, and you will just simply execute whatever is outside the if block. So see guys, now do you have some control flow? Yes, you have control over the flow of execution. Now, if the condition is true, then what will get executed? First A, then B, then C. This is how the execution happens. If the condition is evaluating to a true, na kya hoga? First of all, you will execute the lines which are before the if block, right? Then you see the condition is true, you will enter inside the if block, execute the lines of code inside the if block. Then you will come outside and execute these lines of code. So if the condition evaluates to be true, you execute A, B, C. Okay. But if the condition is evaluating to be a false, you will just execute A and then C, right? So via this if, you are getting some control over the flow of execution. Depending on the condition, either this if the condition is true, then this if block is executed. If the condition is false, then the if block will not be executed, right? So you are coming out of a sequential flow of execution, okay? And your execution or your flow of execution is now dependent on different conditions, okay? So this is a very, very basic if block, very, very basic if block, right? Now, guys, let's try to, run a program to understand the working of this if even better, right? But before even I go to the online GDB, is this basic idea of if making sense? Yes, the basic idea is making sense. What is happening? Sir, explain more examples. Yes, we will explain. We will go to problems also. See, first of all, I want to finish the theoretical part, and then we'll go to the problem solving part as well. Sir, explain more examples. Yes, we will do it. Don't worry. Ample examples will be taken. Sir, समझ नहीं आया. ठीक है, guys. Confused. Let's take an example, and then we'll understand it better. Okay. Let's come here. Come to online GDP. So let's say, guys, what I ask you is, take the input of age from user, right? The user will give you the age, okay? Or forget about age at this point of time. Let me take a very simple examples, right? So let's say I first of all do a println. Hello, I am running my program. Okay. Now then what I write, if, then within parentheses, I write, okay, I write if 8 equal to 8, okay, then, I put curly braces and this is my if block, right? So if this condition evaluates to be true now, then you will enter inside the if block and these lines of code will be executed. Let's say inside if, okay, then let's say I want to print also yo, okay, and then, outside this if block, let's say I'm printing end of code, okay. So now guys, if I run this, what will happen? See, it is like English only. English में हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? See, in English language, we are telling something like this. If I say now, if chances of rain greater than 90%, what I will do? I will carry umbrella. Okay, I will carry umbrella. ऐसे ही ये चीज हो रहा है. See, first of all, when I run this code, what will happen? This line will run and hello, I am running my program will get printed. Then I come to this if statement and what will be seen? This condition will be evaluated. 8 equal to 8 is true. So this condition evaluates to be true. So you will enter inside the if block and execute these two lines of code, which is inside if and yo. And once all the lines of code are executed inside the if block, you will come outside and you will print end of code. Okay. So if I run this program, what will I see? You will see, hello, I am running my program inside if, yo, and end of code. Okay. But guys, here if I make the condition as false, now see what will happen. मैं बता रहा हूँ कि boss, if 8 is equal to 9, okay, I am telling you, if 8 is equal to 9, then you should execute these two lines. Otherwise, you should not, right? So, what is happening? 1 second. Why is this line coming up here? I don't know. Something AccuJob transforming careers has come up on our page. 1 second, guys. So, screen share. I don't know why that's happened. Okay. So, see, guys, now what will happen? Now, if I run the program now, first of all, hello, I am running my program, that will be printed. Then you come to this if statement, so the condition will be evaluated. Is 8 equal to 9? No, the condition evaluates to be false. So if the condition evaluates to be false, will you enter inside the if block? No, you will not enter inside the if block. So I don't go inside the if block. I will directly go to the code after the if block. So this entire if block is skipped, okay? And I will come to line number 18 and then we will print end of code. So if I run the code now, you will see that the output will be, hello, I am running my program and then end of code. Okay. Because the condition of the if statement evaluates to be false, you will not enter inside the if block. So these two lines of code are not run. Okay. Directly, you just run the code that is after the if block. Okay. Is this part making sense? Is it giving you somewhat better clarity of what is happening? Let's see. Yes. Okay. Let's take another example. Let's take another example to make it more clear, right? एल्स भी करेंगे. हिंदी में एक बार बता दो. देखो हिंदी में बता रहा हूं, मैं ऐसा बोल रहा हूं, अगर ये सच है, इफ दिस कंडीशन इज ट्रू ना, अगर ये सही है, तब तुम अंदर जाके एग्जीक्यूट करोगे. देखो ऐसा समझो कि बॉस, इफ यू हैव अ कंडीशन, राइट, तो मैं क्या कर रहा हूं, मैं कोड एग्जीक्यूट कर रहा हूं नॉर्मली, फिर मैं इफ ब्लॉक पे आया, ठीक है, तो मैं ये कंडीशन देखा, अगर ये कंडीशन ट्रू है ना, तो मैं इफ के अंदर घुसूंगा एंड आई विल एग्जीक्यूट द लाइंस दैट आर इनसाइड इफ ब्लॉक. पूरा एग्जीक्यूट किया, फिर मैं बाहर आके और लाइंस एग्जीक्यूट किया. बट अगर ये कंडीशन फॉल्स होता ना, तो आपको एंट्री नहीं मिलती. यू वुडंट हैव गॉट एंट्री इनसाइड द इफ ब्लॉक, राइट? यू विल नॉट गो इनसाइड द इफ ब्लॉक एंड यू विल सिंपली एग्जीक्यूट द कोड आफ्टर द इफ ब्लॉक. अरे थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक दिस गाइस. ऐसा सोचो, I don't know if I'm giving a good example or not, right? Let's say you are standing here, right? And you have multiple gates, right? आपके पास एक gate है, right? See, this is your first gate which is open, right? And this gate is just printing, hello, I am running my program. So you pass through this gate and now there is a second gate, right? And this second gate has a condition. Right? So if this condition is true, then you will enter inside this gate, okay? Execute the lines of code in the if block and then you will come outside this gate. Very bad example, I feel. But see, what I'm trying to tell you is, see, guys, ऐसा सोचो, I think a good example will be, there is a gate, there is just one gate with a lock, there is a lock, right? And you are standing here, you are starting the program. So first what happened? First of all, this line will get executed, which is, hello, I am running my program, because there is nobody guarding this particular line, okay? And let's think of it like this is a room. So I'm just trying to make it, my drawing is very bad, but let's try to understand, or let's make it like this. Wait, see guys, the first line of code is, just lying outside, hello, I am running my program. This is not guarded, right? Now guys, think of it like these two lines now, inside if and yo, these are guarded by this condition. So there is a lock. There is a lock. Think of it like there is a lock. Okay. And these two lines are inside this lock. Ye locked lines. Okay. And then afterwards you have end of code. Now what will happen, guys? You start executing the program. So first of all, you will print, hello, I am running the program. This will get printed. Then I will evaluate this condition. If the condition is true, then I will open the lock. I will execute these two lines and then I will execute this part, right? But if the condition is false, the lock will not be opened. So I will not enter inside this closed room. I will directly go outside and print these two lines. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? See guys, again, I'll just try to simplify it one more time. There is a lock here and see there is a toffee here, right? This toffee is not guarded, okay? And inside this room, you have two other lines, okay? And then you have another toffee line here, okay? So first of all, you pick up this toffee. So you print this line, hello, I am running my program. Then you come to this room, which has a lock, right? So first of all, you evaluate this condition. If the condition evaluates to be false, that means you cannot open the lock. So what you will do? You will skip going inside this room. You will not go inside the room, right? You will not enter inside the if block. You will simply, skip this room and pick up this other toffee and your program will get executed. So we'll just print this, okay? But if the condition was true now, then we will open this lock, enter the room, execute these two lines of code, then come outside the room and then pick up this toffee, okay? So if the condition is true, you enter inside the if block, execute the lines of code, then come outside the if block, execute further. But if the condition evaluates to be false, then you don't go inside the if block and you simply continue after the if block, okay? Now, so this was one example, right? Now guys, I tell you, there is a concept of if else, right? We also use else along with an if, right? So the next conditional that we are going to look at is if else, okay? So guys, what happens is, how does the code look like? If, then you have parentheses and you have a condition, okay? And then we have curly braces and this is the if block. So if this condition is true, we will be entering into this block and executing these lines of code. Else, and we will have again curly braces. Else, execute these lines of code. So now guys, what happens? Think of it like you are telling something like this, ki boss, if chances of rain is greater than 90%, okay? If the chances of rain is greater than 90%, pick an umbrella, okay? Else, if the chances are not greater than 90%, else pick nothing, okay? So what I'm telling, agar ye true hai, to do this, else do this, right? Else is like an otherwise. If this condition is true, we will be executing this if block. But if the condition is false now, then we will enter inside the else block and execute these lines of code. So what happens, guys, if I want you to understand with an example or with a flow chart, right? Let me call this region of code outside the if block as A, okay? The if block is B, okay? This else block is C, and outside this if else, it is D. So what happens? First of all, you will execute the lines of code that is A. Then we will evaluate the condition. See guys, try to think of it like plain English, okay? If this, do this, otherwise do this, okay? If the condition is true, do this, else do this, okay? So first of all, we evaluate the condition. If the condition evaluates to be a true, what will we do? If the condition is true, we will enter inside the if block and execute the if block. And after we are done executing the if block, we will come outside this thing and we will execute D, okay? But if the condition evaluates to be false, if the condition is false, right? So you won't enter inside the if block and there is an else. Boss, if the condition is true, do this, otherwise do this. So I will enter inside the else block, execute the lines of code inside the else block, and then we will come outside the else block and carry on with this thing. Okay? So guys, think of it like you are telling something like this. If sale is greater than 90%, okay, then buy amount will be 10 clothes. Okay, buy is equal to 10. Else buy is equal to 5. That means if the sale is greater than 90%, I will be buying 10 clothes. Else I will be buying only 5 clothes. So only one of if or else block will get executed. If the condition evaluates to be true, the if block is executed and then you move forward. Okay. But if the condition evaluates to be false, only the else block will get executed and then we move forward. So either the if block or the else block will get executed. Both the blocks never get executed together. Okay. And see guys, very, very logical if you try to think of it in English. The boss, if Adarsh is teaching well, attend lectures. Else don't attend lectures, right? So either I teach well or I don't teach well, right? Both the conditions will never be true. Either you will attend the lecture or you will not attend the lecture. So that is what if else is about, right? If the condition is true, do this, do whatever is inside the if block. Else, do whatever is inside the else block. So you will enter into the else block if the condition evaluates to be false. Okay? Okay? So the basic thing is like this only. You evaluate the condition, okay? If the condition evaluates to be true, first of all, you will execute whatever code is in the if block, and then you will continue after, okay, after the if else block, right? And if your condition evaluates to be false, then you will enter inside the else block, execute the code, and after that you will move to this part, which is outside the if else part. Okay, let's take an example. To understand it better, right? So guys, we'll take a very small problem to solve it and understand. And the problem is we will take the input of age from a user. Okay, so the user will give you his age and you have to tell whether the user is eligible to vote or not. Okay, so let's make the question clear first of all. Boss, guys, one thing that I want to tell you before moving further. Guys, think logically and tell me, do you think and else alone makes sense. अगर मैं तुमको ऐसा बोलता हूँ सिर्फ, hey आदर्श, forget anything like this. If I just tell you else print 5, if I just tell you just pseudo code है, does and else alone make sense? बॉस आप हिंदी में भी या इंग्लिश में भी बात करते हो, आप ऐसा ही बोलते हो ना, अगर मेरा 90 मार्क्स से ज्यादा आया देन आई विल मूव फॉरवर्ड, अदरवाइज आई विल नॉट मूव फॉरवर्ड. आप अपने मॉम डैड को क्या प्रॉमिस करते हो? यू से हे इफ आई परफॉर्म वेल यू विल गिफ्ट मी समथिंग, अदरवाइज यू विल नॉट गिव मी एनीथिंग. डू यू एवर से समथिंग लाइक दिस, अदरवाइज डोंट डू दिस? डज इट मीन सेंस इफ यू जस्ट से अदरवाइज डू दिस? डज इट मीन सेंस? सोच के बताओ. इफ आई जस्ट टेल यू एल्स डू दिस, डज इट मेक सेंस? No, it doesn't make sense, right? So what I want you guys to understand is an else alone does not make sense, right? An else should always be associated with an if, right? An else will always be associated with an if. An independent else does not make sense. Okay? Cool. And guys, else will be associated with its nearest if. Okay, nearest if. What do I mean when I say that? Let's say I'm doing something like this. If condition 1, do this. Okay? This is, let's say, block A. Okay? And then I'm writing if condition 2, block B, else block C. So guys, this else is associated with the nearest if, right? So if condition C1 is true, you will enter and execute block A. Okay. So let's say if C1 and C2, let me draw the truth table to see what happens. If C1 and C2 are both true, then what will happen, guys? If C1 is true, A will get executed. C2 is true, B gets executed, right? If C1 is false and C2 is true, what will happen, guys? C1 is false, so you will not enter inside this if block. Okay. See, first of all, you come here. If C1, condition 1 is false, so you will not enter inside this if block. Now you'll evaluate this condition. If C2 is true, so you will enter and you will execute B. Okay. You will not enter into the else part. Okay. Now let's say if condition 1 is false and condition 2 is also false, then what will run? Condition 1 is false, so you will not enter inside the if block and A will not run. Okay. Then you come here. If C2, is C2 true? No. So condition 2 is false. That means you will enter the else block. Boss, if condition 2 is true, then execute B. Otherwise, execute C. So condition 2 evaluates to be false. So we will enter the else block and we will execute C. Okay. And if what is left, let's say true, false is like this, then condition 1 is true, so you will enter and execute A. Okay. And then boss, condition 2 is false, so you will execute C. Okay. So else, independent else doesn't make any sense. And else is always associated with its nearest if. Okay. Else will be associated with the nearest if. Okay. Cool, guys. So now let's go to some problem solving, right? And we'll be able to better understand the concepts when we solve some more problems, right? So the first problem that we will be having a look at is, boss, you have to take the age of a person as input, right? So you will ask the person, hey person, can you please give me your age? And then you will have to tell the person whether the person is eligible to vote or not. Okay. So let's write this program. Okay. So is everyone clear with the question? Now we'll solve some questions to get some more clarity about the concepts that we have discussed just now. Yes. Is that the question clear? You will take the age from a person, and depending on what is the age of the person, you will tell him whether he's allowed to vote or not. So if the age is, let's say, if he's a major, if he's an adult, right, then he will be able to vote. Otherwise, he will not be able to vote. Yes, Accio student, we will come to problem discussion also. Don't worry. Now we'll look at some problems only, right? So we'll solve adequate number of problems that are there on the portal. Don't worry. Okay. Yes, guys. So let's try to figure out what we can do for this particular problem. Okay. So first of all, let's make this problem a little bit more better. Okay, little bit better, right? So first of all, let's print to the screen system.out.println. Okay, 1 second. Let's print to the screen. Enter your age. Okay. Now I want the user to enter an age. So let's first of all, when we have to take input from the user, we have to make a scanner. So let's make it scanner sc is equal to new scanner. Okay, system.in. Made a scanner. And guys, I have to import java.util.star, right? Otherwise, the compiler will complain that I don't know what a scanner is. Okay. Now, once I made the scanner, I will take age input from the user. And what is age, guys? Age will be an integer. So what I will say, int age is equal to sc.nextInt. So I will take the age input from the user and store it inside the variable age. Now, guys, tell me, what will be my judging criteria? What will be my judging criteria to evaluate whether that person can vote or not? I will have a look at age, right? If the age is greater than equal to 18, then I will say that yes, you are allowed to vote. Otherwise, I will say no, you are not allowed to vote. So if the age is greater than equal to 18, then yes, you can vote. Otherwise, you cannot vote. Okay. So let's write code like this. Boss, if I have to check on the age. So if age is greater than equal to 18, then I will print you can. Okay. And outside this, I print you can't. Okay. So if the age is greater than equal to 18, you can vote will be printed. And if age is less than 18, then you can't vote will be printed. Right. Guys, the code that I have written, let's see if it works fine or not. And then you will tell me whether I have done any mistake or not, right? Let's try to run it and see what happens, right? So let's say I give the age as 5. Okay. So can a 5-year kid vote? No, a 5-year kid cannot vote. So what will happen? The moment I press enter, sc.nextInt will read this integer and store it in the variable age. And then we will compare. Is 5 greater than equal to 18? No, guys, 5 greater than equal to 18 is false. So this condition evaluates to be false. So you will not enter inside the if block. Okay. You don't enter inside if. So what is after if? What is after if? Line number 18. Right. So you come to line number 18 and you print you can't vote. So the output should be you can't vote. And we are happy that it is working fine, right? For age 5, the output should be you can't vote. And that is indeed happening. But guys, try to understand, we have done a small mistake here. If I give my age as, let's say, 21, okay, that I am, a person who is age 21, he can vote, right? So what will happen, guys? Age gets a value of 21. So let's put an entrance. See, guys, what will happen? You can vote and you can't vote. Both of the things are getting printed. Can anybody help me? Why are both the things getting printed? I only wanted one. Either you can vote or you cannot vote, right? How is both coming? Yes, because we didn't write an else case, right? So what has happened in this case? See, guys, age greater than or equal to 18, this was true. So see, the age was 21. So 21 greater than or equal to 18 evaluates to be true. So you will enter inside this if block and you will execute this line, which is you can vote. Now, once you have executed the code inside the if block, you will come outside the if block. And outside the if block, you have this line, you can't vote. So you can't vote will be printed. So this line number 18, now this will be printed always, irrespective of whether the condition is true or false. This line will always be printed. What I ideally have to do is I need to use an if else. Boss, if the age is greater than or equal to 18, enter inside the if block and print that you can vote. Else print that you can't vote. So when will you come inside the else block? We will come inside the else block if age is less than 18. So if the condition evaluates to be false, you will enter the else block and you will print you can't vote. And then you will come outside the if else. Okay. So now if the age is greater than or equal to 18, let's see, let's write the line here, print and done. Okay. Just to understand. Okay. Now let's try to run it and see what happens, right? So if I now give an age greater than or equal to 18, then the condition of the if will be true. So I will enter the if block, execute the line, you can vote. And then after the if block has been executed, we will come outside this if else structure. We will come to line number 23 and print done. So if I give the age as 25, you will see that the output will be you can vote and then done. Okay. And now if I give the input as less than 18, so what will happen? If I give the age as less than 18, then what will happen? The condition of the if block will be false, right? So I will enter inside the else block. See, the condition evaluates to be false. So we have an else waiting. If the condition is true, do this. Otherwise, do this. So I will enter into the else block and we will print you can't vote. And once we are done executing the else block, we will come outside the if else structure and we will print done. So if I give the age as 5, the output will be you can't vote and then done. Okay. See, guys, is this making sense? Is this code making sense to everyone? What is happening? How are we deciding? Yes. If 18 was there, what would have happened? What would have happened? Achha, you only answer me. If I give the age as 18, what do you think will happen? Will you enter inside the if or will you enter inside the else? Agar age exact 18 hoga, to where will you enter? You will enter inside if, right? Because what is the condition? If age is greater than equal to 18, right? So if I give the age as 18, then 18 greater than equal to 18, this will be true, right? So you will enter inside the if block only. So what I am making you guys understand it, I will repeat once again. First of all, you print, enter your age. We make a scanner and then I want to take an integer input from the user. Okay. I write the number 5 and press enter. So sc.nextInt will read this integer 5 and store it inside the variable age. Then we come to an if statement, right? I check. If age is greater than equal to 18, guys, एकदम हिंदी में समझो, सिंपल में समझो. अगर एज 18 से बड़ा है या 18 से इक्वल और if the age, अगर एज 18 या 18 से ज्यादा है, then do this. अगर एज 18 से ज्यादा नहीं है, then do this. Okay. अगर if my age, see, I will evaluate the condition. If the age is greater than equal to 18, if this condition evaluates to be true, I will enter inside the if block and I will print you can vote. Okay. And then I will come outside the if else structure. ऐसा देखो guys, this is an if else structure. Okay. So either you will enter inside the if or you will enter inside the else. Okay. You cannot go inside both. Okay. You will go inside one, execute, and then you will come outside the if else structure. So if the condition evaluates to be true, you enter inside the if block, execute the lines of code. And once you are done executing the lines of code of your if block, you come outside the if else structure. What is this line? Done. Done is printed and you are done. Okay. But if the condition evaluated to be false, okay, if the condition evaluates to be false, then you know that there is an else. So you will enter inside the else block, execute the lines of code, and then you will come outside the if else structure. Okay. So depending on your age, either you can vote or you cannot vote. Right. That is what this question is doing. Okay. Cool, guys. Now let's go to the portal and let's try to take up some questions, right? So now we'll try to combine questions, okay? Some questions from this. Let's go to the portal. Think via problem solving now you will get more clear understanding, right? Okay, guys. So, in the question, they have mentioned switch case. I had a look at the question. So the questions actually mention switch case, but we'll not focus into that at this point of time, right? So let's start with conditional problem one. And with these problems, we'll start to gain some more clarity about if else and, the basic conditionals, right? And then we'll move forward. Okay. So let's read this question. Let the question load up first. Okay, guys. Conditional problem one. Write a Java program using switch case. Forget about switch case, guys. When you learn switch case later, you will be able to solve the same problem using switch case. But abhi ke liye, I will ignore this switch case, right? I will use basic conditionals to solve the problem. Write a Java program such that if case is 28, then output will be I am young. Else in other cases, the output will be I am not young. So basically, you have to take an input from the user, okay? And if the input is 28, then the output will be I am young. And if the input is anything apart from 28, then the output will be I am not young. Is the question making sense, guys? You have to take a number from the user. If the number is 28, then the output will be I am young. And if the number is anything else, right, you have to print that I am not young. Forget about cases and switch case. We'll talk about that later. The simple problem that we have to understand here is you have to take the age from user. If age is 28, then he is young. You will print I am young. Otherwise, you will print I am not young. So let's get started with this problem, okay? And with the people who are clear, you can try to code parallelly with me also. That is also fine, right? And if you don't want to code parallelly, that is also fine, okay? So let's try to understand. So first of all, I need to make a scanner. First thing first, we need to make a scanner. And let me try to increase the font size so that you are able to follow. So scanner SC is equal to new scanner system.in. So I have made a scanner, guys. And will the compiler complain to us in this case that I don't know what a scanner is? No. Because see, guys, java.util.star has already been imported. So not a problem. So I've made a scanner. Now let's take an integer input from the user. So let's say I take an age input from the user, sc.nextInt, and it will take the age input from the user. Okay. So I scan an integer from the keyboard and I will store it inside the variable age. Now what do I want to do? If the age is 28, then I want to print I am young. Otherwise, in all other cases, I will be printing I am not young. So guys, what should I do? If what is my condition? If age is equal to 28, see guys, I'm looking for exact equality. So I'm using double equals to that. If the age is equal to 28, if the input age is 28, then what should I print, guys? If the age is equal to 28, we will be printing system.out.println. We will print I am young. Okay. So if the age is 28, you will print I am young. Else. Now when will I come to the else block, guys? For all ages other than 28. If the age is 28, you will enter inside the if block. But if the age is anything apart from 28, anything else, then you will enter inside the else block. And what do I need to print in all other cases? I am not young. So I will say system.out.println I am not young. Okay. So see guys, I take the age input and I check. If age is 28, then print I am young. Else print I am not young. So if the age is anything other than 28, if it is 25, 24, 30, 40, whatever, right? If age is anything other than 28, then we will enter inside the else block and I am not young will be printed. Okay. So now let's try to run the code and check whether it's working fine. So let's give the age as 25. So if I run the code, you will see the output as I am not young. What will happen, guys? Let's see. I am not young, right? So what happens, guys? We have given the age as 25. So first, this condition is checked. Is age equal to 28? Is 25 equal to 28? No, it is not. So the condition of the if condition evaluates to be false. So you will enter inside the else block and you will print I am not young. Okay. And let's take an input of age 28. So in this case, you will see that I am young is printed because age has a value of 28. So the condition of the if block will be true. The if statement condition will be true. So you will enter inside the if block and you will print I am young. Remember, guys, you never enter both inside if and else. Either you will enter inside if or you will enter inside else. Okay. So let's try to submit this code. 4 on 4 test cases failed. Why? No. Let's see, guys. When your test cases fail now, maybe you can try to run against correct code, right? I am young. For 25 also I am young is coming. Okay. So see, the problem is with this thing. 1 second. I think the question written is wrong. Okay. Till 28, they are getting young. And for 29, I think you will see I am not young. 29 के लिए I am young आ रहा है. Okay. I don't know what this question is expecting. One second. Did anybody get a chance to solve this question? What does this question want from us? Full stop or switch case? No, it shouldn't be a switch case demand. Switch case use करने बोल रहे. 8 minute रुको guys. You don't need to take an input. Okay. I am not sure. So let's not take an input, or let's not take an input, right? So let's say that age is 28. Okay, but it's pretty strange, right? Let's see. Pain. So guys, I would say this question is misleading. Okay, it is indeed misleading. So ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, guys? Write a Java program such that if case is 28, the output will be I am young, right? So basically, what they are wanting, they want us to hard code the age 28, right? But I would say don't worry on this front, right? Ideally, the question should have been take input from the user, and then depending on what the age is, you need to print something, right? So here they are hard coding the age as 28. So always I am young will be printed, right? Never will I am not young be printed. Okay. But guys, are you clear with the concept? Forget about this question in general, right? I will not change the code. I will ask the team to change this, right? This is misleading. Let me just note it down somewhere. 1 second. 1 second, guys. No, it's not about switch case, right? Whatever question you do via switch case, you can also do it via normal conditionals, right? The thing is that they are not expecting inputs only, right? So I think we need to note this question down. 1 second. But yeah, for you guys to understand, conditional problem is question में, ठीक है? But the thing is that what you need to understand is we will be taking inputs, right? आप लोग अभी के लिए कोड कर लो हार्ड कोड करके. But what I would have ideally understood this question would be take the age as input, and if the age is 28, then print I am young. Else for all other inputs of ages, print I am not young. Okay. When do we learn about switch cases? Later. Okay. No, it's not about less than equal to Dishan. It's about inputs and not inputs, right? So they are not even taking inputs, right? देखो ना मैंने scanner से input ही हटा दिया था. I didn't wait for inputs. Okay. The question is wrong. The question is wrong, right? Okay. Switch case we will talk when we talk about functions, right? And when we do switch cases, we will again come back to this particular question. But tell me, guys, forget about switch case. Are you guys clear with this basic idea? You are taking age as input, and what the question is telling, if the age is 28, then output should be I am young. Otherwise, the output should be I am not young. Is this part clear to everyone? In the actual question, where you have to pass the test cases, you have to hard code the value as 28, right? But are you clear with the concept of how do you take the input and then you make decisions? Okay. Please explain syntax. Yes, the syntax is basically if, then within parentheses, you write your condition. And then you put curly braces, okay? So this curly braces is for the if block. Whatever code you write within these curly braces, this will be for the if block. And then you write an else, and within, again, put curly braces. And whatever you write inside these curly braces, that will be a part of the else block, okay? That is the basic syntax, okay? So let's move to the second problem. I hope that there are not problems like this more, but I think we will see, okay? So conditional problem 1 is done, but I think maybe focusing more on the concept part rather than getting the test cases accepted. I will have a word with the team after the class today and get them corrected, right? If the problems are such bad, right? Okay. Let's come to conditional problem number 2. We'll get a break at 10 p.m., right? Not before that. So let's read this conditional problem 2, right? So you are given a number n, okay? Write a program using if else such that if n is less than 30, then the output will be less important. Otherwise, the output will be more important. So what it is telling, you are given a number n, right? And I would assume that there are inputs here, right? So you are taking a number n input from the user. And if the number is less than 30, then you should be printing less important. Otherwise, you should be printing more important. Okay. See guys, if the input is 30, you will be printing more important, right? Because 30 is not less than 30. So the answer should be more important. If the number is less than 30, then the output will be less important, right? So if the input is 23, then the output will be less important because 23 is less than 30. Okay. So is this question clear to everyone? Making sense what the question is asking? Take a number n. Yes, take input, right? See, what is the question telling? You are given a number n. That means you will be taking a number n input from the user. Write a program such that if n is less than 30 now, if the user gives you a number less than 30, then your output should be less important. Otherwise, you should be printing more important. Okay. But try to think of it like this. Try to think of it like this. Your user is giving you a number. If the number is lesser than 30, if the number is less than 30, you will be printing less important. Okay. And if the number is greater than equal to 30, you will be printing more important or whatever. Right? Let's try to write the code for it, right? Can anybody help me with the code? भाई बहुत सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है. क्वेश्चन बोल रहा है आपको एक नंबर मिलने वाला है. अगर नंबर 30 से कम है तो आप प्रिंट करो लेस इंपॉर्टेंट. अगर नंबर 30 से कम नहीं है, then आप प्रिंट करो more important. As simple. You are given a number. If a number is less than 30, you should print less important. Otherwise, you should print more important. Okay. So let's try to write this code, right? Okay. So first of all, we need to make a scanner. Okay, we have made a scanner. Now, guys, what do I need to do? I need to take the number n input. So int n is equal to sc dot next n. Now we have got the number n input from the user, right? And please be very careful by using these names. If you do a mistake in the capital small, then your program will not run. So I take an input n from the user. Now what will I see? If n is less than 30, okay. If the number n is less than 30, then what should I print? Then we should be printing what, guys? System.out.println less important. Okay. So if the number is less than 30, I will enter inside the if block and I will print less important. Else. If the number is not less than 30, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? When will I enter inside the else block? If the number is greater than equal to 30, right? If the number is greater than equal to 30, we will enter inside the else block. And what should I print? I should print more important. So if the number is not less than 30, we will enter inside the else block and we will print more important. Okay. That's it, guys. Sweet and simple code. So you write an expression of n. Boss, if n is less than 30, do this. Otherwise, do this. Okay. Let's try to give an inputs and check. So if I give the input as 30, what will happen, guys? Is 30 less than 30? No. 30 is not strictly less than 30. So the if condition will be false. So we will enter inside the else block and you will see more important getting printed. Okay. If you give a number n that is strictly less than 30, then you will enter inside the if block and less important will be printed. Okay. Let's see. If you give the number as 3, then you will see less important is getting printed. Okay. Now let's try to submit it. Okay, so all the test cases passed here, right? All the test cases passed. Okay. Yeah, guys, I think in the first question, they actually didn't tell us to take an input. They just wanted us to write a basic if else and hardcode the age as 28. Okay, not a problem. Okay. So is everyone clear with this question? Conditional problem 2. Yes. In line number 12, semicolon is not used. Yes, guys. See, in line number 12, a semicolon will not be there, right? If n less than 30, right? Then you put braces and then see, this is not a statement, right? This is a condition. You don't write semicolons when you are using control flow blocks, right? This is a starting if, else. You don't write semicolons here, okay? You write semicolons for proper statements. At the end of proper statements only, we will be writing semicolons, okay? Okay, guys. So let's move forward. I think some nested भी बताऊंगा, सब बताऊंगा. Okay. If n is less than 30, print this. Else, print this. Okay. Okay. So let's come. Explain question. The question is pretty simple, man. The question is telling take a number n from the user, and if the number is less than 30, print less important. And if the number is greater than or equal to 30, print more important. That's it. Okay. Cool. Now let's move to conditional problem number 3. Please tell me, guys, if you have any problem at any point in time, right? So 1 and 2 done. Let's move to conditional problem 3. Conditional problem 3. Now let's read it, right? Write a Java program using switch case. We will not be using switch case, right? Such that if the user enters 1, then you entered less will be the output. Otherwise, you entered more will be the output. Pretty simple question, right? If the user enters the number 1, then you will print you entered less. Otherwise, we will print you entered more. Is the question clear to everyone? See, if the input is 1, then you will print you entered less. Okay, very, very strange here again. See, ideally, I will understand that if the user enters 1, then the output should be you entered less. Otherwise, if the user enters anything other than 1, then the output will be you entered more. Okay, is the question clear to everyone? Very, very similar question like the last one. Oh. Again, explain question. See, what is switch case? Forget. Why don't we use indentation like Python instead of curly braces? I think that is the thing of Java, right? That is the thing for Java. It's not related to Python doesn't have braces on all. It has indentation. Java may you have braces, right? So it depends from language to language, right? What is switch case, guys? Please don't worry. I told you na, जो class में कराया जा रहा हो, first focus on that. Right? Whenever is a good time to do a switch case, we will automatically do that at that point of time. Explain the question. See guys, what is the question telling? Please read this question very slowly. Write a Java program such that if the user enters 1, the boss, if the user is pressing 1, if the user is entering 1, then the output should be you entered less. So if the user enters 1, the output should be you enters less. But if the user enters any other thing apart from 1, right? Otherwise, that means if any other number is entered by the user other than 1, then the output will be you entered more. Okay? Cool. अगर input 1 है तो output होगा you entered less. Otherwise, the output will be you entered more. Okay. Let's try to run the code for this. How do I do for personal chats? Can anybody help me? I'm not sure how do we do that, right? But yeah, let's try to write the code for this. Scanner SC is equal to new scanner system.in. Made a scanner. Now let's take the number input from the user. So int num is equal to sc.extend. The user gives me the number. And what do I check? If number equal to 1, okay, then what will be the output, guys? System.out.println you entered less. Okay. Else, if the number is anything other than 1, what will be the output? System.out.println what you entered more. Okay, that's it. And put semicolon. So see guys, what am I doing? First of all, I make a scanner object. Then I am taking input of an integer from the user and storing it in the variable num. Then I am checking if num equal to 1. Agar num ki value 1 hogi, then print you entered less. Else, if the value of num is not 1, then we will enter inside the else block and we will print you entered more. Okay. So let's try to run it. Let's give an input of 1. So the output that I'm expecting is you entered less. Okay. And if you give any other number apart from 1, right? So let's say we give 5. So the output should be you entered more. Okay. Oh, now let's try to submit it. So all the test cases passed here, right? All the test cases passed, right? So guys, let me repeat it once again for people who are still not here, and then we'll try to move a little bit forward, right? So first of all, I made a scanner object here, scanner bana liya. Then what I've done, sc.nextInt. So I will read an integer from the keyboard and I will store it inside the variable num. Then what am I checking? I am then evaluating. I am checking that is my number equal to 1? Okay, I'm checking. Is my number equal to 1? If the number is equal to 1, right? If this condition evaluates to be true, I will be printing you entered less, and then my program will accept it. Okay. But if the condition evaluates to be false, if the number is something other than 1, see, if the number is 1 now, then 1 equal to 1 will be true. But if the number is anything other than 1, then what will happen? Let's say the number is 7. 7 equal to 1, this condition will become false. So I will enter inside the else block and we will print you entered more. Okay. And then we come outside the if else structure, no other lines of code to execute. So my program will terminate. Okay. Oh, let's see. Yes, guys. Is this making sense? Yes. Can we move ahead? Can we move ahead? Can we get the images of the code? I will upload a document. Don't worry. Today only you will get. If the input is 0, then the output for us will be you entered more. Okay. You entered more. Okay. Cool, guys. So let's move forward. Break will be at 10 o'clock. Texted you in Discord for personal message. Okay, I'll check it. I'll have a look at it. Okay. Now let's see how many questions we have solved. So we have taken conditional problem 1, 2, and 3, right? Now let's come to conditional problem number 5. Okay. Let's come to conditional problem 5. Somebody had written. Let's take that. Okay, great. So what is this question telling, guys? Given a number n, if the number is divisible by 6, then print divisible, else print not divisible. Okay. So kya bol raha hai, guys? What is the question telling us? Let us try to understand. A number will be given as input, right? Let's say the number is 50. Is 50 divisible by 6? Is this number divisible by 6? What happens, guys? Is this what do I mean when I say 50 is divisible by 6? Divisible by 6 ka matlab kya hua? When you divide the number by 6, there should be no remainder. In other words, if the number is a multiple of 6 now, then it is divisible by 6. So what I'm telling you is, let's say if you get the input as 36, then boss, is 36 divisible by 6? 36 by 6. Is this number divisible? Yes, it is. Because you will get the output as 6 and the remainder will be 0. So 36 is divisible by 6 without leaving any remainder. Okay. See, a number is divisible by 6 if it doesn't leave any remainder when you divide it by 6, right? If I ask you, is 40 divisible by 6? No, 40 is not divisible by 6 because when you divide 40 by 6, there will be a remainder of 4. Okay. When you divide 40 by 6, there will be a remainder of 4. So the question is telling you, boss, you are getting a number. Okay. And if the number is divisible by 6, that is, when you divide 6, okay, when you divide the number by 6, if no remainder is left behind, then you will print divisible. That yes, boss, the number is divisible by 6. But if the number is not exactly divisible by 6, then you will print not divisible. Okay. So if the input is 40, the output should be not divisible. Okay. But if the input is a multiple of 6, let's say 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, or any number that is a multiple of 6, okay, let's say 180. If the input is 180, then the output should be divisible because this number is divisible by 6. Because when you divide 180 by 6, you don't get any remainder. Okay. So we say that a number A is divisible. A is divisible by B if when I divide A by B, when you divide A by B, और ऐसा लिखते हैं थोड़ा सिंपल में, see, A is divisible by B if A is a multiple of B. If A is a multiple of B. Okay. In other words, when you divide A by B, okay, when you divide A by B, the remainder should be 0. And then we say that yes, A is divisible by B. So when you divide A by B, if the remainder is 0, that means A is divisible by B. Otherwise, it is not divisible. So guys, can you tell me what operator will help me to determine if the number is divisible by 6 or not? What operator? What operator? Anybody? Modulo operator, right? Because if a number is divisible by 6, then it will not leave any remainder when you divide it by 6, right? So your remainder operator will help you to understand whether the number is divisible by 6 or not. So what do? Let's start the problem, right? So what will I check, guys? If, guys, let's try to understand. If number modulo 6 is equal to 0, what does it mean? See, when you divide the number by 6, the remainder is 0. If this condition is true, if num modulo 6 is equal to 0, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Because when you divide the number by 6, the remainder is 0. If this condition is true, that means the number is a multiple of 6 or the number is divisible by 6. So you will be printing divisible. Otherwise, you will print not divisible. Okay. So see, guys, what do? First of all, we'll make the scanner. SC is equal to new scanner system.in. Okay, I made a scanner object. Now let's take the number as input. Int n is equal to sc dot next int. Let the number as input. Okay. Now what do I check, guys? Is the number divisible by 6? How do I know? If n modulo 6, okay, what will n modulo 6 give you? N modulo 6 will give you the remainder when n is divided by 6. So if the remainder that you get when you divide n by 6, if it is equal to 0, okay, n modulo 6 मेरे को क्या देगा? N modulo 6 will tell me what is the remainder when you divide n by 6. So if n modulo 6 is equal to 0, that means when you divide n by 6, the remainder is 0. Okay. So if this condition evaluates to be true, that means the number is divisible by 6. So I will enter inside the if block and I will print system.out.println divisible. Okay. Else. Let's say if n modulo 6 is not equal to 0, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, guys? When you divide the number n by 6, there is some remainder left. N modulo 6 is not 0. That means on dividing n by 6, the remainder is something other than 0. Okay. So guys, in that case, I can tell you that the number is not divisible by 6. So we will enter the else block and we will print system.out.println not divisible. Okay. That's it. Now let's try to run it. Console main input data 28. Is 28 divisible by 6? Definitely it is not, right? Because you know that when you divide 28 by 6, a remainder of 4 will be obtained. So the output should be not divisible. Let us confirm. See, not divisible, right? So if you look at the explanation, 28 is not divisible by 6. But if I give the input as 24, is 24 divisible by 6? Yes, it is. Because when we divide 24 by 6 now, then what is the remainder? You get a remainder as 0. So 24 is exactly divisible by 6. So the output in this case should be divisible because 24 modulo 6 will be 0. Because when you divide 24 by 6, the remainder is indeed 0. So let us try to run this code. Divisible. That is what we were expecting. See, 24 is divisible by 6. So let's try to submit this code now and check whether it's passing all the test cases or not. Okay. So it has passed all the test cases. Is everyone clear with this question? Yes. Logic समझ आ रहा है सबको? What happens when n modulo 6 equal to, we see if n modulo 6 is equal to 0, that means the number is a multiple of 6, right? The number is divisible by 6. So you will enter inside the block and you will print divisible. That is what the question asked us to do, right? So 25. What is 20? 25. What will happen? See, guys, let's take the input 25 and let's try to do a dry run, right? If n is equal to 25, what will happen? You check. What is 25 modulo 6, guys? 25 modulo 6 will be 1. Because when you divide 25 by 6, the remainder is 1. So you check. What is n modulo 6? It is 1. Is 1 equal to 0? No, 1 is not equal to 0. So you will enter the else block and you will print not divisible. Okay. 10 and 11 line is important to write in any code. If you want to take inputs, Gaurav, right? If you want to read an integer input, then definitely you have to write these two lines, right? Scanner आपको बनाना होगा if you want to read an input. And in order to take an integer as input, you have to use this sc.nextInt, right? So if n modulo 6 is 0, that means the number is divisible by 6. भैया अगर मैं बोल रहा हूँ एक नंबर 6 से डिविजिबल है, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि भैया आप जब नंबर को 6 से डिवाइड करोगे ना तो वो रिमाइंडर 0 छोड़ेगा, राइट? When do I say that a number is exactly divisible by 6? If when I divide the number by 6, it doesn't leave any remainder. And that is what I'm writing here, right? N modulo 6 will give me the remainder when I divide n by 6. And if the remainder is equal to 0, that means n is divisible by 6. So you will enter and you will print divisible. Else, if the remainder is not 0, if it is anything other than 0, that means the number is not exactly divisible by 6. So I will enter the else block and we will print not divisible. Okay. Let's see how many folks are understanding. Yes, guys. Is this making sense? Two test cases are failed. Why my two test cases are not failing? For me, all the test cases pass. What code are you writing? Okay. Take 0 as input. What will happen? 0 is also a multiple of 6, right? Same code. It is failing. It's failing test cases for you all for the same code. Shouldn't happen. Why? It shouldn't happen, guys. Please share your code. For the same code, how is it possible? यहाँ पे D is small, right? Please look at it very carefully, right? The D is small. Can you share your code? Not का N capital होगा. Puneet, not का N capital होगा. Verify that. In the else part, you have N should be capital. Okay. Please verify. Exact same code if you are writing, it will not fail. Okay. If you are writing N capital, D small, and you are adhering to what they are asking, then it shouldn't fail. Okay. If SOP not write in code runs, so is it needed? It is needed to write. No, you have to write it in. Okay. I am telling you, Gaurav, what you are telling. See, if your if block consists of multiple statements now, if you want to execute more than one line of code inside if, then you need to have a curly braces. Okay. But if your if block is just one line now, then you can choose to skip these curly braces as well, right? ऐसे भी तुम लिख सकते हो, ठीक है? कि if this, do this, else, do this, right? So there is just one line associated with if else, and you can skip the brackets. But I would say it is a good practice to write the curly braces, right? Because if you want to have more lines, if you have more than one lines in your if and else block, you have to write these curly braces. So better write these curly braces in case of single line also. Okay. कि अगर मेरे if block के अंदर सिर्फ एक ही line है ना, तब भी use the curly braces. No harm, right? No harm. Okay. Let me clean up the screen. Okay. So guys, now we will have a break. Okay. And when we come back from the break, we will discuss yesterday's problems. And then we will move on with, nesting of conditionals and if, else concept, right? That is pending. Okay. Okay. So guys, when do you want to meet back? 10:15? 10:15? Is 10:15 fine? 10:15? Okay. 10:15? Cool, guys. So let's meet at 10:15. 15 minutes break is sufficient, I feel, right? So let's meet at 10:15 and then we will try to move ahead, right? Just 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 second. Let's have a quick poll. 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, guys. Chalo 20 minutes le lo. Okay. I can make a poll also if you want, so that I get an understanding. If you can give me just 2 minutes, I'll just create a quick poll only. It helps to understand. If some test case is failing, can we find reason? See, earlier there was an option to view the test case, right? And you could do a dry run to see what is happening wrong, right? But now the viewing test case option has been disabled, right? So you need to think carefully of all the edge cases. Boss, क्या input हो सकता है? Is there some input for which your code might perform wrong? So you have to think up and verify your code yourself, right? So that is a decision that was taken. Yep. So what we will do is, let me tell you the remaining, how will your remaining next 1 hour will look like, right? So first of all, we will discuss the questions that were given to you as homework, right? So first we'll try to discuss those questions, and then we will try to, do one more concept of conditionals, and then we will wrap up the class, right? And tomorrow's session will be basically be all about revision, right? So we will try to revise all the concepts that we have done in this week, and we'll try to take a couple of questions also to further strengthen your, concepts that we have gained in the week. Okay. So cool, guys. I think we can get started. Okay, fair enough. I think I gave you 20 minutes. Not exact 20 minutes, but 18 minutes were there. So fine. So let's get started, guys. Let's get started. And first of all, let's solve the questions that were given to you as homework, right? So the idea of the homework is, guys, that you solve it within the days that you get. Okay. So if I give you a homework today, the idea is that in the next class, I will be going to discuss the homework problems. Okay. So you get a couple of days of time, and the idea is that you try to solve the questions on your own. And if you get stuck, we are here to help you. Okay. So let's quickly discuss the homework problems that were given to you, right? And then we'll start off again with conditionals once again. So if you look here, I think the questions that were given as homework was Agent Vinod, Fahrenheit to Celsius, Celsius to Fahrenheit, and mathematical operations, right? So let's get started with the questions one by one. Okay, quickly within half an hour or 40 minutes, we'll try to discuss the homework questions that were given to you. Okay. So the first homework was mathematical operations. Let's try to read what this question actually states. You are given two positive integers. Can you calculate the result of performing plus, minus, into, divide, modulo operations on them? So the first line of input contains two space-separated integers a and b. So they are giving us two space-separated integers in the first line. And what do you want to print? The output should be, the first line should contain the sum of a and b. The second line should contain the difference of a and b. The third line should contain the product of a and b. The fourth line should contain the quotient of a divided by b. And the fifth line should contain the remainder of a divided by b. So let's take an example to understand. The input is 8 space 3. That means a is a and b is 3. Okay. So what will be the first line of output? The sum of a and b, that is 11. What will be the second line? Difference of a and b. 8 minus 3 is 5. Okay. What will be the third line? The product of a and b. 8 into 3 is 24. What will be the fourth line? The quotient when you divide a by b. Okay, so the quotient will be 2. Okay, when you divide 8 by 3, the quotient will be 2 and the remainder will also be 2. Okay, so the fifth line contains the remainder. So the output will be 11, 5, 24, 2, 2. Okay, so this is the sum, this is the difference, this is the product, this is the quotient, this is the remainder. Okay, so you are given two integers and you want to print that sum, difference, product, quotient, and remainder in 5 separate lines. That is the question. Okay, so again, there is another example, but the same thing, right? 10 and 2, these are the two integers. So the first line will be 10 plus 2, that is 12. Then you will have the difference, that is 10 minus 2 is 8. Then you will have the product, 10 into 2 is 20. Then you will have the quotient when you divide. So 10 divided by 2, the quotient will be 5. Then you will have the remainder is 0. Okay. So is everyone clear with the question? Did you guys get a chance to actually solve this question on your own? It's a simple question. It's a basic question. Yes. Okay. So let's quickly do this, right? I think we'll take 15, 20, 25 minutes of the time and try to cover up the homework questions. They were simple enough, not that difficult. Okay. So first of all, guys, we need to make a scanner. Okay. So scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in. Okay. So I made a scanner object. Now I need to take two integers input. So int is equal to sc.nextInt. So I will scan the first integer and it will be stored in variable a. Then I will read another integer and store it in variable b. Okay. So I have read two integers and I have stored them in variables a and b. Okay. Now what do I need to print to the screen? The first line will be a plus b, the summation, right? So let's write system.out.println. What is the first line containing? A plus b. Now because I used a println, after printing the sum, the cursor will move to the next line. Then what will I print? In the next line, I will be printing the difference, that is a minus b. Okay. Then in the third line, I will be printing the product, that is a multiplied by b. Okay, a multiplied with b. Okay. Then in the fourth line, we want to print the quotient that you get when you divide a by b. So what will you do, guys? For quotient, we'll use the normal division operator. Because both a and b are integers, a by b will also be an integer and it will give you the quotient part. Okay. And if in the fifth line, we want to get a remainder, so system.out.println, how will we get the remainder? A modulo b. That's it. This is what the program was asking. Now let's try to run it, guys. Let's give it input n space 2. Okay. The two integers are given as input. Now when you run, what will happen? The first sc.nextInt will read this number 10 and counter a space and it will stop. So 10 will be stored in variable a. The second sc.nextInt will start from space now. It will skip the space, read the number 2 and store it inside variable b. And then I will be printing A plus B. So in the first line, 12 will be printed. In the second line, 8 will be printed. And so wise, all the operations will be performed and the results will be printed in separate lines. Let's try to run the code, guys, for 10-2 and see. Okay, so 12, 8, 25, 0, and that is what I was expecting in the output. Okay, so let's try to submit the code and see whether it's working fine or not. Okay, so all the test cases passed, right? So the question was pretty simple. You just read two integers from the terminal, and then you have to print their summation, difference, product, quotient, and remainder in separate lines. So just you need to use the system.out.println, and you need to use the different operators. Okay, so is this question clear to everyone? Very basic. I think we've already did this in the first class actually, but yeah, just to be clear. Okay, everybody crystal clear with this question? Okay, great. So I think we can move to the next question. Okay, I think the homework will not take much time. Simple questions were there, right? So let's go to the next question that was there in your homework. No, where was this? Here. Okay. So the next question that was given was Agent Binod, right? Let's try to read this question, Agent Binod, and try to understand and try to write the code for it. Let's just remove this. Okay, guys. Let's try to read the question. You are required to take input a string agent name. Okay, एक string आपको input दे रहा है agent name, right? And finally print the line, hi, my name is agent, and then you need to write the name of the agent. Okay. So guys, if the input is Binod, see the name, what is the input? The input is the name of the agent. You are getting a string as input, and the string is basically the name of the agent. So the input is Binod. That means the name of the agent is Binod. So my output should be, hi, my name is agent Binod. Okay. So output क्या होगा? Hi, my name is agent. And then whatever is the name of the agent that you have received in input, you will write it here, right? So if the input is Binod, my output should be, hi, my name is agent Binod, right? So let's say if the input is something like this, Khiladi 786, right? 786. This is my input, right? Khiladi space 786. Then what should be my output? Hi, my name is Khiladi 786. Something like that, right? So whatever the name is given as input, the same thing you have to print an output with the sentence, hello, my name is agent, whatever the name is. Let's see. In the second example, the input is Binod Bhushan. And what will be your output? Hi, my name is agent Binod Bhushan. So is everyone clear with the question? First of all, you will be given a string as input, that is the name of the agent, and you will be printing the statement, hi, my name is agent, and then you will write whatever the name of the agent you have received. Okay. Is the question clear to everyone? आपको एक agent का name मिलेगा and you have to print, hi, my name is agent, followed by that particular name. Okay. So guys, first of all, we need to read a string from the terminal, right? And the question that I ask you, should you use a next for reading the string or should you use a next line? That is my question first. First question to you all. Should you use sc.next to read a string or should you use sc.next line to read a string in this question? सोच के बताओ. Boss, next line, because your name can have multiple words. Look at the second example, right? Binod Bhushan. If you use sc.next now, then you will only read Binod. Bhushan will not be read. So your name can be consisting of multiple words. So how will you read the name as input? Using sc.next line. So let us make a scanner. Scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in. Made a scanner. Now let's read the name, string name. Okay. What is the name of the agent, guys? sc.next line. Okay. So I will read the string input from the terminal and then I will store it inside this variable name. Okay. Now what do I want to print? I want to print, hi, my name is agent followed by this name. Right. What I will do? System.out.println. Chalo karte hain. Hi, my name is agent. Okay. After agent, what do I do? After agent, we need a space and then we want to print the name, right? So hi, my name is agent, put a space, and then guys, what do I need to do? Plus, add to this name. So see guys, what will happen? String concatenation will happen in this case. Hi, my name is, this is one string, and to this you add name. So whatever will be the name, that will get concatenated at the end of the string. So my output will be hi space, my space, name space, is space, agent space, and then whatever is the name. Okay. So we are done. Now let's try to, give some inputs. Let's say, Binod Bhushan. Okay. Let's try to run the code. My output should be, hi, my name is agent Binod Bhushan. Hi, my name is agent Binod Bhushan. So everything is coming up fine, right? If you want to take another name, let's say, X786, something like this. Okay. This is the agent name. So your output should be, hi, my name is agent X786. Let's try to run the code and see. Okay. Hi, my name is agent X786. So it's working fine, right? So let's try to submit the code and verify if it is passing all the test cases or not. All the test cases passed, right? So what have we done, guys? First of all, you have taken the name input using sc.nextLine. And then what did you need to print? Hi, my name is agent and then at the end you will add the name of the agent. So plus name. So because you have two strings, this plus operator will do a concatenation of the two strings and the final string will be printed in the output. Okay, let's see. Is this making sense, guys?